to this computer. All right. Okay. So welcome everybody and everybody watching subsequently via the YouTube to the launch of Amethyst Press's latest anthology, which is Thin Places and Sacred Spaces, an anthology of new poetry. It's an absolute delight to welcome everyone. We've got an hour, it might be a flexible hour, it might be an extended hour. I'm going to try and accommodate everybody who's signed up. And also just letting people in as I go. The anthology of Thin Places and Sacred Spaces is quite large. So it's divided into sections. So what we're going to do in this reading, this launch, is generally go through the sections. I'm going to invite people in small batches to read. We'll reflect and pause, and then we'll go on to another batch of poets and through the sections that way. I did just do a shout out to see if people needed to read early, and I am very happy indeed to invite Nathaniel Brown to jump in and start us off. So we will do that, and then I will call on half a dozen names from our very first section, which is Sacred Locations. So welcome everybody, welcome poets and thin place readers and all. And Nathaniel, I'm going to ask you now to step in. Your poem is in a section towards the middle of the book called Sacred Times and Holy Hours. I'll introduce the sections as we go, but from Sacred Times and Holy Hours, which on reflection seems a good place to start actually with one poem. And Tamara, yes, got your message, thank you. Yeah. Rachel, yes, and Tamara, yes. So I'm going to ask Nathaniel to read now, and then I'll pop in again and call on some names for our very first section, which is Sacred Locations. But to start off the holy or sacred launch hour, Nathaniel, please do jump in.
Thank you very much. What a pleasure to be here. And it's such a lovely collection of poems. I've been enjoying reading many of the others, but here's mine. On Waking Early. A faint dish of light, elegant and delicate, cups the waxing outline of our world's companion above the dark sea-green glow that promises morning. The slender curve of light is distant, like a promise made, but not to me. A sublimity to witness for a lonely bystander. After losing myself to longing, I admit, reluctantly, the world is better, fuller, through the gossamer green and black, a curtain no one can touch. The sky, like ink wicked onto dark paper, stands between us, a lens that will not make crisp the other world. No gaze is long enough, fervent enough. Brief thinnings between our world and others happen when and where they will. And my notice doesn't change that, only me.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And from the brief thinnings, let us continue. So the very first section of the anthology is actually called Sacred Locations. And may include some of the more obviously recognizable thin places. We associate thin places, especially with Celtic locations where the atmosphere, the veil between heaven and earth is very thin. There are thin places all over the world. This anthology can't give all of the whole world its due. It's a representative partial sample. I love all the poems. I wonder if we could now, if people are here, go to the first 6 names I've noted down from this section. So Roselle, if you're here, Roselle Angwin, then Rachel Klein, Sue Lick, if you're here, Danita Dodson, if you're here, and Genevieve Chonenki. So if you're able to just beautifully sequence yourself in that order, that would be lovely. So Roselle, Rachel, Annette, Sulik, Denita Dodson, and Genevieve. If there's a gap, I'll step in. Then we'll have a pause, and then we'll go on. So, sacred locations, starting with perhaps one of the most well-known or obvious places in Iona, beautiful Iona. Roselle, are you with us? Rachel, would you like to read your poem first? Another Iona beauty.
Yes, thank you.
How nice.
Yeah, I made it.
You did make it.
Yes. Um, so interestingly, my poem was written on a writing retreat with Roselle
I know.
on Iona. And it's amazing that we're both in the anthology. Now and then. I wait for Iona's convent stones to speak. Snails sleep away the day on granite ledges, curtained by fern and toadflax. Now, 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 chants Rook to ghostly nuns. Raven's throat throb and slow wing beat parts the air as he flies northwards to the Alpha Omega place of all beginning and ending. A drop of nectar will go with me in the file collected from such places. Memories of Zachros and that step to the offering room where 3,000 years ago I declared my thirst for knowledge. All that went between then and now is as nothing. I long for another such nothing. The chirrup of temple sparrows that hug the walls of Philae, Knossos, Menadra, Iona, and the honeyed hum of bees. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Annette? Hey, Sue? Sulik?
Scrolling as quickly as I can.
Oh, bless you.
My poem will take you many miles away from there to the state of Oregon in the United States, to a mountain that on a good day you can see the ocean and the mountains and the valleys, and it's an amazing view. And on other days you can't see anything. But this is called Mary's Peak. I expect it will be just me and the mountain. I will ponder the world and talk to God. Together we'll untie all my knotted thoughts and roll them into a big round ball I can crochet one sturdy stitch at a time into something that fits and keeps me warm. The uphill road is long and full of ruts, canyoned in by trees and rocks, but somewhere ahead I will see everything. Up, 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 jolted left and right. Bugs splatter blood on the windshield, gas gauge ticking toward the E. The road ends in a parking lot, hot sun reflecting off 100 cars. Women with hiking poles, men in Eddie Bauer shorts, children. They line up on the trails like ants while I hesitate, exposed, alone. The view is hazy. Blue mountains row upon row, green fields, highways, a smear of fog, no ocean view. Is it worth $5? I'm here. I pay, hang my ticket on the mirror, join the ants on a tree-lined trail. The gray dirt is crumbly, marked with the waffle prints of hiking shoes. To my left, the hills slant steeply down, lined with fallen white-barked trees. I scrabble up the cliff like a crippled cat, clawing at dirt, grabbing at weeds. Trees recede, dirt gives way to yellow grass. A lone maple, orange and gold, forces me to stop, breathe, look. Dear God, somehow the knots have come untied. I clutch my ball of yarn, content, as I amble downhill, chasing butterflies.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Danita, are you with us?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yep.
I'm coming to you from Central Appalachia, which has been hit by Hurricane Helene.
Oh,
And so I
goodness.
wasn't so sure what my connectivity is. Just send up prayers for the communities all around. It's a tough time in the mountain towns shouldn't be underwater. But I'm not writing about Tennessee today. I'm actually talking to you about Turkey and another place to go. The poem is In the Sculpted Land of Tufa. In the sculpted land of Tufa, Cappadocia lies before us like a realm of madcap fairy dreams, carved errantly by the hand of nature and human faith, its light changing in the omnipresent dust, to both estrange the nomads we are and to call us deeply into a home of stone. Though the volcanic matter serves our eyes at first, and its silence is ponderous, an outlandish planet ostensibly without life. Our senses settle, and there comes the truth. The land is fecund and laden with boulders of hope. For food, we discover a potato storage in the cool caverns of Shahin Defendi, where central Anatolian farmers harvest crops at the foot of the Table Mountains, their Shavlar legs flowing in the breeze, and life comes riding out of the stone as we gaze on the crater lake at Sofular. 3 boys on a donkey stop to trade laughs and directions for lemon locum. Forging on to Direnkuyu, we descend into dark rooms built stories and stories underground, where ages ago the seekers of the light in flight delved deeply, transforming cold tufa walls into secrets, where Paul and Barnabas educated the change makers for a brand new world. When we finally reached the Ilhara Valley, it's a canyon honeycombed with churches, long abandoned when Greeks were forced from the natural chimneys rising in a green earth near the cool rolling stream, all stitched together like a patchwork quilt. We paused to absorb the songs of birds, happy to walk in this hallowed place, wondering what it might have been like for Cenobites to float along on their hymns among the rocks and trees. Then we sojourn in the rock-hewn Salome, a place of refuge for monks and merchants, a camel caravan truck stop with holy roots, its elaborate fresco-splashed passages winding and tumbling and opening back onto the horizon sculptures, where there is nothing more undeniably beautiful than to praise the hand, the hope written in stone. And I, a sculp, am edified. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Genevieve, are you here?
I am here.
How lovely.
I am here. Thank you, Sarah, and hello to everyone from Toronto, Canada. My poem is inspired by an Iron Age textile that was preserved by the anaerobic conditions of a bog, and it's on display in the National Museum of Scotland. How it got in the bog is an interesting question. The Orkney Hood. Raindrops and dew overfill a lochen in the heather-silent bog, a gloaming space, a beckoning place, where a dun-colored hood enters an opening out of time, a child's cowl let fall by grieving hands. Moon upon moon upon moon, low clouds swaddle it, moss and sedge shield it from the curlew's spirit wailing and the charms of the night-scented orchid, moon upon moon, till men flaying a bank in fog-filled air cleave its sepulchre, light and heat and incense of heather pour out, wilder than a tempest, sharper than a dagger. A hell spirit not, but the cowl, glowing, gilded, glorious. Hand shadows too, sleek with lanolin. Fingers pluck fleece from moored ewes, pull out bracken bits, drop spindle whorls, ply yarn, thread looms, throw shuttles, weave 2x2 twill for the hood's pixie-pointed peak, chevron bands for the shoulders, neck, and the fringe, oh, the fringe, pea tendrils long as a lamb shank, 1,400 fine woolen threads, 21,000 twists, 350 catkins that once circled a chieftain's waist, reworked for the curls of a peaty redhead.
Wonderful. Yeah, I love how visual these poems are. Yeah, it's like going to a sort of exhibition, and in my mind, I can see them all. So that's lovely. Thank you. Okay, so we're still in locations. I think we'll just carry. I can see people are putting lovely comments in the box. Thank you so much. I think we'll carry on with the sacred locations, and the next 6 I've written down are Simona Carini, Carolyn Martin, Jonathan Evans, David Chorlton, and Peter Lilly, and then Karen Luke Jackson. So that's 6, isn't it? Yes, it is. So shall we have those 6 sort of continue with our not quite a pilgrimage, is it, but our walking through these beautiful places. So Simona, would you like to start if you're here with us?
Sure, here I am.
Thank you.
Delighted to
There
be
you
here.
are.
Thank you. And my poem was inspired by an experience I had in Venice. And Venice is a city very close to my heart. Bells of Venice. In Salizzada San Rocco, alongside the Frari, I marvel again at the massive church slotted into a narrow space, crowded by buildings. The first peal hits me, loud and sudden. The next, expected, still blunt, a sonic force. Another bell close by adds its voice, some pantalons. Soon, they talk to each other the Italian way, as if arguing. Tones of bronze, locked in a tolling match, sounds filling the air between the Salizzada's sides, deafening, as if the bells were ringing to raise the dead. Do they always chime this loudly, this long? In the silence that tails the last peal, the sliver of city around me feels suspended, as on the crest of a wave. My body, too, still resonating. I can't escape the sense of having just been called. To what? The bells thundered inside me, turned my body into a taiko drum, made it play. Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely. Yes, we've got the sound there. And I can see that you have to go. Thank you for joining us anyway. And thank you, Simona. And Carolyn Martin.
Yes, thanks, Sarah, and cheers from Oregon. Like Sue, I'm an Oregonian. Sue's a good colleague of mine also. However, my sacred place takes place outside of Palm Springs, California, on a mountaintop. And in order to get to that mountaintop, you have to travel on an aerial tram up the mountainside. And the tram turns at a 360-degree cycle, which is breathtaking, but also a little stomach turning also. So the title of the poem is Along the Desert View Trail on Mount San Jacinto, Palm Springs, California. Maybe it was the wind at 8,500 feet, or my sneakers navigating slushy snow, or the cloudless sun that kept the chill at bay. Maybe it was the western gray, the wildest squirrel to cross our paths, on her midden trail, or spalls of rocks spilling down mountainsides, or hikers dropping packs to share their lives. Maybe it was nothing more than my mind insisting that close-ups concentrate, panoramas amaze. No matter why, persistent words echoed at every turn. Stop to notice, and you're saved. A shooting star in 7 syllables, an epigram designed to stall my pace. Of course, attention must be paid for astonishment and memories and photographs bound for my next book. And I'm adept at paying on the spot. It's the second thought that stumped. I didn't know I needed to be saved. From what or for? I asked the melting path, the dinge of earth and all its reckless noise, the all-filled grace of clarity, vistas missed. Maybe answers hide in crevices where lizards sleep, or in nests built high above a bobcat's reach. I'll turn those words slowly in my hand, then bounce them off the canyon's walls. Some sense may echo back before they dismay again. Thank you.
Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much. Thank you. And Jonathan, going back to the UK, if Jonathan Evans is here.
Yes, that's right. I'm here. Thank you, Sarah, for a wonderful anthology. My poem is called Runwell. It's about St Mary's Church in Runwell, which is in Essex in the UK. And it's one of 3 churches in the parish where I'm the team rector. The poem comes in 3 parts. This is part 1. Passing graves, carefully tended, loaded with memories, and shrubbery sculpted and shaped on the path leading to this medieval church. Approach the rickety wooden porch with flecks of paint remaining from its earlier medieval light decoration. Open the heavy wooden door inwards to reveal among the gloom a brightly painted, though faded interior, screen and murals mimicking medieval origins. Let the silence seep into your soul as the cold into your bones. Explore and tour the minor marvels of this hidden place, packed within the smallness of its TARDIS-like space. Tales of heritage and folklore layered in stone and art, worship and time, artifact and ritual. Travel in time and through tales to a place and space where God is our beginning and our end is God, where the inside can be spied from the outside and the outside in, where the devil may have left his mark on the exit door, where the local bobby regularly waited on All Hallows Eve to prevent disruption, where a last prioress from the nunnery by the well was reputedly laid to rest in a tomb that is now empty, yet which retains a unique carved cross, the Runwell cross, 4 circles in a square, the instrument of our redemption set within a sign of the perfection of God. God is our beginning and our end is God. Spring of living water welling up, run well through life and time, run well in this place and space, its layers and its mystery, its tales, and its history. Part 2. Time.
Yeah,
There
hello.
has been time, aeons of
It
time.
is.
Time to run well through life. Time to tell tales and accrue tales. Time for pilgrims, nuns, and congregants to gather and disperse. Time for marks, murals, memorials, marking the passage of time. Time for interments and burials, and for exhumations. Time to begin and end projects, orphanages and schools. Time to build and sell vicarages and rectories. Time to decorate and time to strip back. Time to carve altars, crosses, and stations. Time for the devil to make his mark. Time for prayers to seep into the walls, windows, and stones. Time to sit still in silence and know God is our beginning and our end is God. Part 3. Water rises from the ground, a never-failing spring, well water, life-giving, well-being, running water, running well, through life and time and ages. Settlers build homes and a church, a village rises nearby. Pilgrims pass by, praying with nuns as they receive and bless. Farmers work the land fruitfully using the well's water. Boxing Day walkers, led by Mr. Diaz, visit for relaxation, exercise, and inspiration. See them come as one. See them come layered in time. See them come to the same source, the same well, the same water, each receiving differing meaning. Still, each receiving well. Run well, run well. Continuing source of well-being, running still running, ever flowing, beginning in God, ending in God, flowing continually through time and eternity. Run well, water of life. Run well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. I'm just checking my messages. Yeah, thank you, Donna. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to carry on with sacred locations, and then I'm going to have a little stop for 3 people now. I know who need to read and leave in due course. So we'll carry on for now. Thank you so much for that, Jonathan. Could I move now to
Sarah?
Yes. I can't hear you, Rachel. I apologise. Are you?
Could you ask everyone to mute, please?
I did.
Because that's camera bombed. Yeah, thanks.
And in fact, David, because you on the phone, I did actually mute you, I think. Let me see if I can.
saw that. I'm sorry. We
That's
live with
right.
people constantly call. I'm sure it was somebody from a real estate office.
That's perfectly fine. You're
Yes.
now unmuted, and it would be
Okay.
lovely to hear your poem, in fact.
Thank you. This goes down to southern Arizona, the Madeira Canyon and the Santa Rita Mountains. These are sky islands. They're small mountain ranges that rise above the desert. And this is looking back to an occasion, looking out from the canyon onto the desert and the region around it. Sunset in the Santa Ritas, a recollection. The forces of wind and fire had made their peace. It was that time of day a deer wanders with such soulful steps that even mountain ranges breathe calmly from deep inside their stormy foundations. A sacred peak, many valleys away, stood dispensing wisdom of the kind that grows with time. History was trapped in valleys beyond eyesight, whose memory was scented with incense. The panoramic ridges lay still beneath a prayer light as the sun fused with the rock. It held a while, the yellow shading into pink and peach and purpling clouds before birdsong in the foothills turned them blue. A tanager, an oriole, a lost thought, fused together as a shadow pooled in a metate left in place by a culture that simply disappeared, the way the smooth clouds did to clear the sky for what moved in to fill the space between waking life and twilight. A step toward distraction and then a backward look. The sinking rays ignited the underside of clouds that broke in chorus, so as to see was to hear light as trumpet calls, brilliant but softening, the way thunder might do on deciding to commit its inner thoughts for safekeeping in the sky.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, okay, let's go on. Karen Jackson, are you with us and able to read? No, Karen? Okay. Let's just get through the sacred locations, and then I will invite people who want to read and need to read. Otherwise, I'll have to go. So, still with the sacred locations, we've got Anne Bodling, Charlene Kwiatkowski, Catherine Clark-Sales, Mary Mulholland, Kim Malinowski, and Michael Smith. If you're with us,
I haven't read. I was on the
read.
last group and I haven't read yet.
Oh, sorry, Peter.
It's okay. No worries. Shall I go now or?
Yes, please do. Thank you for.
Okay. No worries. No worries.
Thank you. Please read.
No worries. Okay. Cool. So my poem, I live in the south of France, and my poem's called Morties, Morties, and it was written, inspired by the landscape beneath a mountain here near the city of Montpellier called Pic Saint-Loup, and it's kind of a fairly unique place. So, Morties. As home as the walls we live behind, this unique crag of muddy slate, grey and giving to buried secrets. We track the surface, yesterday's pastimes and last night's scurrying. I show my boy the wild boar tracks and the prints of two dogs who padded the steep mud since the last rain. Then we dig to find the living root of a dry shrub, to find fossilized shells from ages past, and a 3-inch cone or spike, an ancient root or tooth or thorn, your kingly legacy, your bitten heel, your bitter crown. We listen to the invisible wind, hidden birds, and the sporadic buzz of passing insects, blowing, singing, and flying where they will. We climb to see the valley. Vines score rough lines where grey slate meets brown mud, where the earth is transposed and bottled, momentarily capturing a poem of flavour, to be recited but once in the fragility of time spent together. We look up to the high place, your metal cross on the bluest of backgrounds, containing the luminosity of this globe's glowing aura, and the dark depth of space beyond. It's not the light blue of shallow waters, nor the black as the ocean night. It is at once both blue and black, life and depth, home and unknown. From here, your hilltop cross is tiny against such a backdrop, an artist before his immense canvas. A rustle in the brush bids me turn, staring into the pastel green leaves, pines, holm oaks, and juniper. I hear the scuffing beneath the sound of my son's imagined story. A boar? A bird? A rodent? The silk filament of a strand of floating web glides and glistens in a ray of sun, as a silver hair in clear water. The creature remains unseen as the wind, as your presence at present, as the intervention for which we desperately plead, as the origin of song, as the composer's inspiration, as the traces of our presence after the next rain. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's have, so Anne, Charlene, Catherine, and Mary, and then finish off the location. So Anne Bodling.
Yes, here I am.
Hello.
Praying with binoculars in the Berkshires in October, and with a cup of tea on the porch off the old classroom. Praying with the nuthatches and chickadees foraging at the feeders and in the goldenrod out back, and with the song sparrow and chipmunks rustling through last year's leaves. Praying with the horses on the hillside and their foggy breath as sun rises over the mountains, light slanting through the black cherry and the birches. Praying with the dew glistening in the hayfield and their spider's silk slung between ash branches, with yellowing ferns and lingering asters, and sugar maple leaves dropping one by one. The stone schoolhouse, filled with 2 centuries of memories, feels too crowded for my silent prayer. Outdoors I sit, accompanied by descendants of the long ago wild ones, in praise and thanksgiving for this morning, for this land, and for the one who has been always here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Charlene, are you here and able to read?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. My poem is called Ross Lake Border. Ross Lake is a lake that is mostly in the state of Washington, but the northernmost tip goes into British Columbia in Canada, which is where I live. Wild with bedhead, the marsh stretches its way to sunrise. Amphibian grace, trompe-l'oeil of floating, rootless blades rushing to greet me. A lake the only surface for reflection, before my eyes scale the mountains where a well-groomed scar divides 2 countries. My paddle can't tell the difference. One stroke past and I am in new waters, listening for cracks of lightning. Like the days I turn a year older, or the mornings I open and close a book, expecting change to rise within me like thirst. But the waters lie still. I am looking for trouble, a line to cross, a wave to break, a voice to call me out of this boat. I don't know what I'm asking for. Nature doesn't cut with a knife. Behind me, the shore, like objects in mirror, closer than it appears.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Catherine Clark Sales, are you in the room? Okay, Mary Mulholland, I know you needed to read sooner than later. It'd be lovely to have you read now.
Thank you so much. Yes, mine was inspired by a little place in Crete called Lutro, which is only accessible by boat or donkey. And it felt the church there was on a promontory, and the name Lutro means bathtub, and it just felt a very sacred place. But the church was locked. But because the place is so elemental, it just felt right. So there's no place for grief in the house that serves the muse. And that's from Sappho. On a sea-swept rock, a white church startles the sky. Door locked, recent flowers adorn graves. Here, a grasshopper, loud as a born-again poet, ants on brown earth, horned goats in thick coats, cicadas arguing like a percussion class, or static electricity, or an underwater choir timbling all day like the old beards in the shade with ouzo and fans by a bathtub bay with its mix of sweet water and sea, where cockroaches scuttle in silent communion under a rose-fingered moon. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Kim, are you, I think I saw your name flash up. Kim Malinowski? Okay. Michael Smith, I don't know if you wanted to read. I saw your name on the list.
Yes, yes. Hello. Thank you,
Hello.
Sarah, for all you do. And greetings to everybody. I'm coming to you today from Apple Valley, which is in the Mojave Desert, Southern California. And my poem, which is entitled Walking Half Moon Canyon, is coming to you from the Pacific coastline of California. Chizuko and I look a long while, observe the gestures of the young branches in the ironwood trees. She says the wind exhales its dreams into their leaves, which I almost believe. Our eyes catch an elaboration of cranes overhead. Their shadows skim the Manzanita Trail, urging toward the ocean. The path ahead winds through to a rocky bluff, then up and over where we can see the sleepless Pacific, washing seaweed and stone ashore. I say it was a fleeting suggestion of cranes that led us here. No, she says, and the wind seems to exhale with her. It was the fine-winged dust of our willing bones and belief in the whispers of trees. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Beautiful background too. Okay.
Oh, it's Kim. It's Kim. I have no idea. I have no idea how to use this stupid phone, so I apologize now. I'm so sorry. But I would love to read.
Please do. How lovely.
All right. All right. It's Cooper's Rock, and it's in West Virginia, the United States. I walk on boulders forged together into overhang, air still charged from lightning. Time whittles rock. Generations have carved their names into it. My name is carved only in the air. The world is opened like a new box of crayons. Rain has colored the sky ice blue, streaks of eggshell cloud. The slate of rock and chrome of the rail perfume the air with ancient danger. I lean over the edge, arms spread wide. I am the hawk colored in sienna, my feet shifting the drying rock. Sunlight is scribbled over, shadow is textured, the canopy below fresh with greens, hints of orange marmalade, the river frosts in. Color me sunset, one eye to the heavens, one longing to plunge into distant foam. And thank you so much. Sorry about that.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Lovely to have it read. Okay. Oh, wait, we've been through sacred locations, and the sort of inner visuals and other sensory details, just wonderful. So at one point I might produce an illustrated version of that section. Thank you so much. Time is going much faster than I anticipated. I'm so sorry. Let's do what we can. I would love to get through poems from the next couple of sections anyway, the nature and the architecture, and then we've got a few names down for the others so we can see how we go. I know as they have to leave early, Tamara and Judith, shall we have a sort of little break between sections and hear your poem? So Tamara's poem is from the art, poetry and languages section, and Judith, yours is from Sacred Times and Holy Hours. So let's hear those if that's okay with people. Tamara, did you want to read yours first?
Sure. So for those of you that would like to follow along at home, if you Google Hawstead panels, Hawstead, you can kind of come along the journey. The poem is entitled The Paintings of Lady Drury's Closet, and she was a benefactor of John Donne, and she had these religious paintings on panels in her closet. So anyway, The Paintings of Lady Drury's Closet. These paintings might have become my friends had I met them in the days before television. I would have stared at them, and from the outside, you'd have thought I was sitting and watching something moving, and I would have been, though not in the usual sense. The movement would not have been in the painting, but in me as I entered the landscape and wandered past a crocodile wearing a coat of armor, a mermaid gazing in a mirror, a bird ringing a songbook, a mud brick house, mop-top trees, a ship coasting on the back of a whale, and a peasant rowing alone on a river before a storybook city. They can do that, you know, invite you in if you stop by a painting, a good one, and stand for a bit. It may offer to cradle you in the small ridges of brushstrokes, or allow you to drape yourself in a cloak of color. It can give you what you need to banish the demon doubt, who has no voice of his own, but borrows the voices of those you have known and plays them in your head, your mother, your father, your third-grade teacher, so every time they speak, you hear what he says in their voices. But if you venture far enough into the painted landscape, the ground grows soft and the sky too, so soft that sound sinks and is muffled until there is silence. Silence not as a nothing, but a felt thing. And here, deep in the painting, you can finally hear yourself, the one that is not scratched and scarred, the one that knows you can and shows you how, so that when you exit by the way you came, paintings, good ones, will leave you with souvenirs, a few stalks of wheat, some leaves from the downy forest floor, friendly talismans, touchstones for your confidence. You emerge commanding a palette of color, attuned to the real and shielded from noise.
That's just wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Judith, shall we hear
Thank you. Tamara, that was fabulous. Thank you so much. And greetings, fellow born-again poets. I love that phrase.
Yes, it's great phrase.
So I had submitted a very long poem to the anthology. My very good poet friend Allison Townsend and I had a shared writing residency at the Shot Pouch Creek in Oregon some years ago, and my project was turned out to be writing this very long poem, which I'm not going to read all of today. What happened is we got there and we found this amazing cache of records of Hildegard von Bingen's music. And we started putting it on. And we were so moved by it. We already were familiar with it, but we were so moved by it. And then all this green valley, it just seemed like, you know, Hildegard was there with us. So this is written, the long poem is written in sections that reflect the divine hours. And the one that Sarah used in the anthology is from Vespers. And as you'll notice, I'm I'm addressing Hildegard directly. Vespers. In the middle of the journey of your life, Hildegard, flaming tongues sizzled in your mind, directing you to give voice to your visions. And words streamed forth, lifting you from your sickbed to record them. From the moment we rise, my sister friend and I trace singular circuits, each answering the call we've arrived here in midlife to obey. Our silent voices contrapuntal as we scribble for hours. From the loft Tapping the keyboard, I watch her mahogany bob bounce down the creek path as she hoists her tea mug high so as not to spill a single drop. Settling into the blue lawn chair, she opens her notebook, pauses, her pen a dragonfly floating above the page. Sometimes our moments approach one another like voices briefly crossing or soaring parallel through your music, like the two butterflies we watch touching down on the same rock, slowly fanning carnelian and black wings in what might be a greeting, then gliding off in opposite directions. Returning from my walk under lichen-veiled alders, I tiptoe past Allison's head, bowed over a book in the last light, legs sprawled over the arm of an overstuffed chair, like the young girls we return to when we're reading. Thanks.
Yeah, love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Again, apologize. Yeah, in my mind, we had plenty of time to get through the sections. Those who need to go, I am so sorry. I am more than happy to arrange a further launch. I'm also happy to carry on. I'd like to have some, at least from sacred nature and sacred architecture, just to celebrate this first half of the book. I'll take no offense if people need to leave. As I said, we'll record everything and revisit it. So let's continue, and I'll call readers from Sacred Nature. We've got a much smaller number, and a smaller number again from architecture. So we'll see how we go. Marjorie Maddox, Kelly Madigan, Laura Garrard, Marjorie Moorhead. If you're happy to read your poems from the Sacred Nature section, it would be lovely to hear from you. So starting with Marjorie Maddox.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And Genevieve, I was glad that you mentioned curlews earlier, because this poem is about curlews, and it's called The Tightrope Walker, and the epigraph is the curlew exists, the story goes, to weld the heaven to the earth. Between streaks of sun, the curlew balances its own feathered weight, sickle of a beak poised and pointing, raised wings offsetting gravity. Staring straight ahead, it two-steps across the small earthly space of eternity. The fine line that binds sky and dirt welds together every season of belief and reason. Is this the story we two tightrope across that neatly separates up from down, before from ever after? Or speckled bird as confident as ancient prophets is all air paradox? Your strut across wire, sand, space instead, the unzipping of all our divisions, choice and vision melted. One heaven, one earth, undone by beauty. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And I know, yeah, someone's had to go. Thank you, Lana, and thank you. Yeah, thank you, Maggie. Kelly Madigan.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I'm so moved by the poems I've heard, and thank you for putting this lovely collection together. And I'm in Western Iowa in a wild area, which is unusual in Iowa, in the Midwest of the United States here. And this poem is called Cardinal. On the rim of a twig cup, braced in wisteria, itself tangled in the rails of ladder, two birds dip over the interior frenzy, silence the outstretch with beak captive insects. The unlived life within me vaults to the branch. Thank you.
I love that last line. Thank you so much. Laura, are you here and able to read your poem?
I am. Thank you so much for including this poem. Mine's a little longer than the last two, so hang with me. I'm coming from the Pacific Northwest, but we're going to the Bahamas. filled to the brim. Like kids giddy in spontaneity, 20 mostly middle-aged ladies gush in transparent turquoise water, tailing Gulf Stream spotted dolphins. Our graceless bodies contrast, their elegant gray-brown dorsal fading to white specks. We wear masks and breathe through snorkels. Our relaxed limbs flow willy-nilly, thin mammal skin tickling in bubbles. In twosomes, we hold foot-wide handles, tied to one of two ropes. Pull behind a catamaran, like the dolphins, we converge. Legs flap and intertwine in the wet wind. Surging at their speed, we watch the impish antics of the sublime Stenella frontalis, slick, spinning, and almost always connecting. Just one encounter would have filled to the brim, but they remain to swim and weave between us. For almost an hour, they dive and ascend, feed on the sea bottom in pearl sand, and like missiles pierce the surface to arc in living art above the waves. Our buoy heads bob up and down to capture every feat they offer like gems. Sexual beings, a young male turns his belly toward the underside of a female, as is common, and receives a fluke slap on his face. He appears to giggle in response, just 5 feet below my grasp. I laugh, sucking salt water into my snorkel and mask. The females draft in offset formation as one organism but slightly shingled, all of this in propulsion, yet they like magic. With their agility, fluidity, and strength, they seem to float and not project. They may stream in the warm current. The male, while still moving, hangs submerged like an ornament on an invisible branch. No laws of physics apply to this daemon as he surveys us and his surroundings of the Atlantis Bimini sanctuary, then darts to his best friend in the depths. I promised myself I'd swim with dolphins after I reached full wellness and remission, but now inhale my dream no matter the outcome of tests that have no end. In my imagination, I plunge with them, exhaling cancer cells as I descend. I travel to the larger pod, join in fin dance and song. We race through the underwater city, play keep away with sargassum seaweed, sweet tales of fish-eating festivals, and heal our scrapes with sonar. I return to raisin skin and board slowly. Heavy, my body drips on the vessel, but my oceanic friends linger with me. Another hour, we oogle, ah, and cheer as the male dolphin vaults to impress us. Finally, the captain cruises toward dinner. My hair and hide dry salty and sun's kindness. I squint from smiling at the setting horizon. No more air can fit within my expanded lungs, grown full witnessing the motion of exuberance. They also came to watch us, their wild intelligence 40 million years older than our scientific sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Laura. And Marjorie Moorhead.
Hello.
Poem. Hello.
This is gorgeous. These words are wonderful. I'm so pleased to be here hearing everybody. And thank you, Sarah, so much for the anthology. I'm going to read Summoning What is Dear. I like to wear abalone's shell at my ear, a drop that hangs from silver, its glimmer holding all of ocean's wonder and all of smell and feel and hear. Above pebbled shores, gulls float and surf the air. Time and swell softened treasure is found alongside purple jellyfish splayed near sandy seaweed strands and gnarls. Fluted clamshell crescents, crabs, translucent green sea glass, twist-shaped driftwood, flat disc sand dollars stamped with a star, secretly carrying tiny white doves. Speedy sandpipers with spindly legs, racing salty waves, endless charge and retreat. A trick I do carries all this for me, summoning what is dear. I wear a shard of shimmer, once home to soft-bodied creature, held close, precious, iridescent, dangling as a promise, open as can be. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. More nature, a little bit more nature. Do we have Lynn and then Nadine and Stephen CSC? So Lynn Wycherley, Nadine Moran and Stephen. Lynn, would you like to read your fern poem? The fen poem, sorry. You're there? Not there. Okay. Nadine? Okay. Stephen. Perhaps they've had to go, weren't able to attend. Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
Hi.
This is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Still a good time to talk, question mark.
This is my poem titled By the River. I've wandered and rambled beside the river, reaching for rhythms that hide in the river. When my lenses are thick and I've stumbled, so often my narrowing gaze has grown wide by the river. Sitting with sunlit muck in the morning, I remember how much has died in the river. Like waterlogged driftwood, I lift and examine all that I've left untried by the river. Along the meandering bends, at least half of the ways I might walk are denied by the river. While looping on wooded paths, a profusion of prayers I've whispered and cried by the river. When words have been bundled close to the chest, I've discovered that I can confide in the river. In moments of barrenness, I can hear the abundance of lives that abide in the river. For the thirst of the city, a crystalline flow is silently, amply supplied by the river. Must I dip in an ankle, go up to my waist, or submerge to be purified in the river? There are so many things I can never know without feeling my way inside the river. Then, over the rush of the current, I catch a glimpse of the wings that glide on the river.
Thank you so much. Yeah, such a powerful piece. Okay, Lisa Miller and Nancy Klein, I've got you down as either down on the list or offering to read. So if Lisa is here. Or if Nancy is here to court the flash. Okay, maybe they've had to go. Oh, Kathy's got to go. I'm so sorry, Kathy. Perhaps we can see you at a future launch. Okay, those of you who are still here, again, I want to apologise. It's the poetic equivalent of your eyes being bigger than your stomach, I suppose, isn't it? And it's been so lovely to hear all the poems that we have. May we, for those here or who want to stay listening, at least dip into sacred architecture, which is the third section that I had. So the nature section could be a whole book or series in itself.
I believe Nancy is here.
Oh, Nancy. Okay. All right. Okay. Just before we go to architecture, then, Nancy, it would be lovely to have you read.
To court the flash.
Yeah.
A damaged oak, deep-rooted, stands in a lonely place. See this deep scar that spirals down the trunk? The path of lightning. Imagine wave after wave of heat, the white light scorching, the thunder boom blasting the earth. With your eyes closed, touch the scar.
a mingle of rough and smooth, the path both living art and proof of the gods' visit, a moment of encounter beyond time, a quicksilver knowing, then the return to real time, tree time, left with much to heal, much to contemplate. Did I speak of silver? The strike, pure white, but the afterglow silver. The following spring, a hint of silver shimmers in new leaves. Legend says oaks are favored by the sky god. Legend says the most beloved trees are struck again and again. Those chosen trees continue to court the flash.
Wonderful, thank you. I particularly love the title of your poem. Actually, I think it's a poem in itself. So lovely to hear it read. Okay, from nature to architecture. I don't know if Alwyn is here or still here. It'd be lovely to hear your poem, Alwyn. I don't think Lynn is here. Sister Joanna, if you're still here, I would be lovely to hear your poem, Deus Ibi Est. And then we've also got, possibly in this section, Karen Paul Holmes and Andrea Small, and those were the names that I had on my list. So Alwyn, are you with us? And she said she'd try. Okay. And Lynn is not here. Sister Joanna, if you're here, it would be lovely to hear your poem, which is so short and so very powerful.
Thank you. Yes, I am here. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can.
Thank
Yes.
you. And this is such an inspiring gathering, and it's such an honor to be part of it. Yeah, as you can perhaps tell, I'm a nun. I'm a Benedictine nun. I live in Kent, England, in buildings that are 12th century. But the building I'm going to write about is more modern. The only thing about that that's ancient is one of the walls, which the architect designed the whole chapel around. And it's a beautiful wall of gray flint. And since we spend a lot of time in the chapel, that wall has gone in pretty deep. And that's been the source of this short poem called Deus Ibi Est. Our chapel has one wall of stone, each flint unlike in shape and gray, each gray unlike in shade and tone. They fit somehow. Our chapel has a wall of clay comprised of us, unlike, unknown, our mortar, prayer, day by day, and love somehow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a beautiful poem. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Karen Paul Holmes, do we have, yeah, people love that poem. And Karen Paul Holmes, do we have you? I think we were in email correspondence. Perhaps she's had to go. Or Andrea Small.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. I wrote this. Thank you. I wrote this poem after a visit to a property near me in England, which calls itself the Unstately Home. Day out. After the unstateliness of the interior, display cabinets ajostle with random rocks, shells, the odd ammonite, room after room of taxidermied kingfisher, eagle, albino robin, toothy fox, ptarmigan, pheasant, a gannet with a text-bound wing strung upside down from a fishing line, stained wallpaper in the schoolroom with the kitchenless educational doll's house, the human use cast iron sink with one cold tap knocked askew, a drainage pipe pointing to a sunken grill. Think of the wet feet of the kitchen maids. The room of small broken chairs, the stalking guides who force-fed me regurgitated gobbets of history, the chitter of grandparents furiously educating toddlers. I settle in the church. Thankful for the particular silence of worship places, heavy with past prayers of faithful and faithless, sighs of glazed generations who watched the fluttering of light-caught dust. I breathe out. Somewhere, a clock ticks. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. Karen, yes, I got your message. Thank you for sending it. Yeah, please do read. It'd be lovely to have you read your poem. Karen, if you're able to. Ooh. I can't hear you, Karen, but Karen Paul Holmes, I can see you left a message. So sorry, either just jump in or, yeah, and you've got your hand up as well. Okay. Let me just check the time. Okay, let's just have a little moment. Karen, if you want to just jump in, please do. It's just been such an amazing extended hour. Thank you so much, everyone. It sort of brought it all to life. It's I know these poems. I feel like I know these poems quite well now because I've been through them quite a few times, both sort of reading for selection and then for ordering, and then sort of the fine tuning, sort of copy editing mindset, and then the formatting, and then sort of the whole thing over and over again. And it's just so lovely to hear them read. It really is. It's yeah, just wonderful. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Rachel. Yes, and just thanks everyone. As I said, the whole thing has just been a delight until the last few weeks when the last admin hurdle, as is traditional, I think, with these things, was a challenge, and I'm so glad I managed to sort of jump over it or through it or under it or whatever you do. Is there anybody else? I myself am getting a little short of time now. I'm okay. But I hesitate to go on too much longer, but I also hesitate to deprive anyone of the chance of reading their beautiful poem if now is the time for you to do it. So on my list, still, Karen, if you want to jump in, you're most welcome to. And then I've got a few names for the subsequent sections, either because people wanted to come this time or they couldn't come any other time. And so on. Some of those people have already read and gone, and some people have perhaps read a poem previously. Is it, rather than me just reading out a list like a register at this stage, is there anyone who is still here, not too rushed for time, and this is your opportunity to read your poem to those of us who are still here? And there are quite a few of us still here. It's a good 30 plus still here. So, for example, I had Laura Webb for Sacred Times and Holy Hours with your lovely Half Moon Over the Hospital.
I think the next launch I'll come to as well. I'd probably prefer to do it then. Yeah, I've been at work today, so it's been so lovely being taken on this journey to all the places with you all.
Not at all. I just wasn't sure with some people, because some people I know sent messages sort of in the chat saying, I'm just here to listen, which is brilliant. I just wouldn't want to deprive people if it's your
wonderful
the time that you've covered. That's brilliant too. Then I shall see you in October. Anybody else at this stage wants to read? So
I would read if there's space.
Yeah, of course. Heather, yes. You'd be most welcome to. Thank you for holding on.
Yeah.
So your poem was...
There's a couple, but I can just read one of them.
Yeah. Tell us which section.
Yeah, it's in Sacred Times and Holy Hours.
Oh, yes.
Yes, there's two in that section actually, but one of them called Great Horned Owl fits, or could have fit just as well within Sacred Nature.
Within nature, yes.
To read today. So yes, I'll just read this one.
That would be lovely.
And this one was inspired. I went for a walk last November on my mom's birthday with my mom and my brother in my favorite forest. And this is about what transpired there. Great horned owl. Your even song echoes through spires of pines and bare beech trees. One measure, 5 notes, the third hoot, a half note. Treading lightly, we follow your call through the arbor nave, rimmed with ferns. Take the trail left where it splits. I search the pillars for your pointed ears, fix on a shift in the cleft of a pine, close to the canopy. I sidestep and see at last those ears, ever alert, your body a shadow, ink smudge in the dusk, facing us, hushed. We call to the dog walker now approaching. Her dogs rush into the underbrush, sniffing out the roots close to your cloister of trees. Wind whispers pianissimo through vaulted limbs as the branch beneath you bows, and oh, we see you spread your wings wide in the vesper sky, marking evensong's end in flight.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And that's actually a wonderful one to just close the evening, not really close it down, but allow it to lift off. So brilliant. Thank you. And yeah, and lots of suitably appreciative comments in the box as well. Oh, thank you, Sam. My friend Sam is here. Thank you so much, everybody. I feel like perhaps we should close now. I really appreciate people staying on a little bit extra for a little, you know, sometimes sacred time is expandable beyond our usual parameters. So thank you for going with that. What I'll do is I'm just going to turn off the recording now, and then I'll probably thank you again. So let me just turn off. Oh no, that's leave. No, I don't want to do that just yet.